So the big topic of discussion in the last few days is about that cyclone that's about to park its arse on our head. We've got the Carbine Top Gun on the back. We've got the boat that's going to handle it, we think, so yeah, this will be the test. I'm Chris, I'm the owner of Port Douglas Marine. We're the distributor for Carbine Marine. So we travelled up to the Bloomfield River. We had the Carbine Top Gun and its baby brother, the centre console Carbine Rogue. First time we've had the Rogue on the water and given it a good thrashing through its paces, so it was nice to see how it goes with the new top deck design that Lance has come up with. So the Carbine Top Gun, it's I think it's going to speak for itself, to be honest. Playing out in the mouth of the Bloomfield with a 20-knot southeasterly was a bit of fun. We could really unleash the boat to its full potential, driving it, in and out of the breaking waves. Had some shallow spots we needed to avoid. Yeah, it was fun. It was like driving a go-kart on steroids. So Port Douglas Marine is the sole distributor for Carbine boats. Lance at Carbine, he builds the hulls. He does exactly what he is really, really good at, and that is build a very robust, very strong boat. We have experience in sales, we have experience in marketing, we have experiences in engine fit out, especially now having access to Mercury, that's helping us to no end and will do in the future. Both Lance and I are really accountable for what we sell, and we take a lot of pride and are passionate in it. So we're going to make sure that your boat's fitted out to the nth degree. We're both sea trialling the vessels, and if one of us is not happy, we go, hey, okay, how are we going to come to a solution? We've got to make this right. We won't deliver the boat unless we're entirely happy with it. Carbine Marine, Lance and I, we've been working together for a couple of years now. I think our businesses complement each other. There's nothing too serious going on. We're just helping each other out, and we're just passionate about the product.
Welcome to Carbine Marine, and this is our range. Starting with the 533, perfect little fishing package with a 115 Mercury Pro XS. This is a little rocket ship and really stable also. It'll get you in and out in almost all weather. For a 5.3 metre boat, she really punches above her weight. Moulded casting deck with a lined tub for a 200 litre esky, all gel coat finish and gel coat side pockets.
Look, it's a very, very easy and forgiving boat to drive too. Like, these are not boats that have to be driven by experienced people going fast. You can come out of a smaller tinny into something like the 5.3 metre Rogue, and you will find your feet very, very quickly. The weight distribution in the Rogue, it's spot on. It's sitting there riding nicely just up on plane at sort of that 20 knots, but it's just perfectly balanced to complement the engine that's bolted on the back. We spend quite a bit of time getting all that right.
Stepping up to the 6 metre, so just a bigger version, open boat of the 533. She's very dry, very stable, powered with a 175 V6 Mercury. This thing really goes. We've got the nice T-top fitted to this to really give you a bit of shade, and a huge casting deck, 2.5 metre long. For the Spearos, this boat has it all. We've got the beautiful dive door to really give you access out of the water. Moving up to the Carbine 20 Top Gun, we call it. This is a great family boat. We've got deep coamings, 6-foot bunks up forward, and we've squeezed a toilet in there too if you want to go that way. Beautiful wave breaker, keeps all the wind and the spray down. Not that you even really get much spray because of all this flare. Origins, well, you can see some classic lines there that you might be familiar with, but being a 6 metre boat, we've lengthened the running surface. Being 2.1 wide and 6 metres long, it's length to beam of about 3 to 1. So she really punches through the chop well. This is basically an extended version of our 533, which is basically an improved version of your classic V17. So she's got 23 degrees at the stern with a round build, so very soft ride. The strakes are a little bit downturned and a little bit wider on this 6 metre just to give it a bit of lift. We've got our 1.5 inch fitting for our ballast tank. it'll flood in about 30 seconds and you can hold that by shutting the seacock. It'd give you about 100 kilos right down in the bilge, which really settles her down at rest. Solid glass transom, that's 60 mil of solid glass there. We've put the biggest motors we can find on these and it hasn't had an issue. She's got a 225 Merc, which is the top rating for these hulls. It's more than it needs. We're getting 46 knots out of this one. So she's full composite construction. We always use the best products we can. We pre-cast the stringers and tag them in individually with vinyl ester, and the bulkheads are all prefab panel that we tag in also. This boat really is going to do it all. You'll be down in the southern waters chasing the big game, or you'll be up around the reef here, nice and dry. Spear fishermen are loving this setup. We've taken a few out and got some good results with it. Game fishing, we're going to find out when we go up north. These hulls have performed really well, over 50 knots. You don't need to go that fast, but we've pushed them past it. Completely airborne or in the water, it just depends how you set it up. We've got our generous side decks coming down well past the breaker for access, with grab handles all around, so you're not going to slip off the side of the boat with our tow rails either. I'm a big believer in traditional boat building, and tow rails are a must. Nice wide gunnels for all your fit out. This particular one, we've just used some plastic hatches aft here, but we can go to all sorts of different makes. It's a blank canvas, you can fit what you want on it. With the advent of electric trolling motors, it's really starting to push weight up forward. So we plan ahead and we may move a fuel tank further aft to compensate for the batteries in the motor.
A very important thing to me is making sure we're fitting out the boats with the best quality products. So Dometic steering, helm pump, steering cylinder, Dometic jack plate. So we've got a Seastar manual jacking plate on this one. It does everything we need to do. We can test it in one position, come back to the ramp, raise it up 10 mil. That's all we really have been doing, up or down 10 mil at a time, going out, testing again, come back, do the same, changing props. It's been perfect for what we need. Every boat, every single boat is a little bit different to the one previously. Weight is in a little bit different spot. Trolling motors, batteries, everything gets moved around, and when you're doing 45, 50 knots, balance is absolutely everything for the drivability of the boat. So hence why we've gone up about 70 mil higher than where we started. We're running a Mercury 4-blade Revolution 4 propeller. This is a 14.6 by 20 pitch. These props have got an amazing amount of cupping, and when we're just running the lower two blades in the water, she's still hooked up and gripping, but we're reducing our gear case drag. And once you start getting over that 40 knots, 45 knots, you really need to be aware of your hydrodynamic drag, and by getting this up and the boat naturally trimming, just puts all the thrust in a horizontal position, and that's where you're going to be getting your top speeds. Yeah, the long range capacity and long range touring of the Top Gun is there for people, swags, camera gear, dive gear, fins, you name it. We have the 6-foot cabin up the front. We're able to keep everything dry. I think that's the main thing most people want out of a boat. The last thing you want is to get to where you're going and find it, your swag soaking wet. We've got 260 litre fuel capacity. The destination is endless, really. Safety of the boat, when you're going out in marginal conditions, which they were a little bit marginal yesterday, but the safety of the boat, foam filled underfloor, good bilge pump capacity, not taking on any water through the dive door or over the front. Yeah, look, we got a bit wet, but that's going to happen. The safety of the boat was never compromised.
Bit of excitement, yeah, we've got the Carbine 24 Magnum. This is hull number 1, moulded up with our plug deck in final shaping stages. We're going to see 450 horsepower of Mercury on the back of this, and we're very excited to see it go. This will be an open boat, open console boat for offshore fishing. This will be available in survey, full survey. Some serious pedigree's gone into this boat. We've got a very straight running surface, but still some classic lines, as you can see.
We had a good crew with us on the trip. I think everyone's definitely getting along. We're all very passionate about what we do, and that certainly helps. Lawson, Sophie, Lance, Erin. It's a bit intimidating having the world champ on board, jumping in the water. I can tell you that. A bit nervous. Luckily, Erin shot a few trout for us, so we didn't starve, us boys. She was looking after us. Had a cook up on the beach, fired the gas barbie up, and just had a few beers and a few yarns.
So this is a pretty standard weekend for us up here in Far North Queensland. So we speared these coral trout. We were just hunting along the reef edge along this island. It's pretty special to be able to come and camp somewhere where you can just get dinner straight off the beach pretty much. It's quite dirty water today. We were hunting in pretty filthy water, and the coral trout were quite flighty. So a few hunting techniques had to come into play, and sort of not be looking at the trout as you're going down to shoot them, and play a bit of a game with them underwater to get close enough to them. So we just came out here in the Carbine Top Gun. It's a 6-metre vessel, and the ride was actually pretty amazing. We're in pretty strong wind, and as soon as you get 15-knot winds up here, you get quite a large wind chop because the tide goes against the wind, and it stands up quite a fair bit. So the Carbine was actually a really soft ride, and yeah, it's very smooth. You could comfortably take that out in 20-knot winds up here.
Erin probably put it best this morning. She said, yeah, it rides like a V17, but just without all the bad bits. It's just, yeah, been really refined from that beautiful hull shape that everyone knows to really be as near as perfect as you could probably ask for. Back in Port Douglas, everyone's preparing for a cyclone. We're sitting here just out of Cooktown on the Endeavour River, Paperbark Retreat. Beautiful spot. I've been to quite a few places around the world, but this feels very, very relaxed. I like being relaxed. It's not easy for me to do, so I'm liking it here. We'll be back, that's for sure. You know, if you're thinking about doing a project boat, V17 or something like that, look, that's a whole lot of fun, but considering the refinements in this design, the lengthening of that, the natural lengthening of the hull, full width, full depth, the added pod on the back to soften that ride. Look, this is something you really need to consider. The boat's been built with all modern materials. You're not using an old skin. You're getting all these refined modern products, no timber obviously, and solid glass stringers that are all hand laid into the boat with 600mm bulkheads. The vinyl ester fuel cell is something that's probably very rarely and very reproduced and not easily done, shaped to the bottom of the hull. What might seem minor details is something that when it's packaged together, it just becomes one of its own. The future of Carbine Marine and Port Douglas Marine is yeah, pretty endless, I think. I know Lance is a thinker, as am I. We've got the size of boats are endless. We like to go fast, so you can guarantee that there's going to be some bigger and faster models out. But it's not always about the speed, you know. We just want to make a good, robust, all-round boat with very little compromise.